Welcome to the Synthaholics Star Trek Discovery review. I'm David Duncan, and with me is Anjelle Cosplay.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing good. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Well, we're finally here. We're talking episode 15 of Star Trek Discovery. Will you take my hand?
Bittersweet.
And so very rushed.
Oh, like I said, I have kids, and when the stories drag out at bedtime, you go, this happened, this happened, this happened. Oh, and everybody lived happily ever after the end. Good night.
And that's pretty much what happened at the end of this episode. And everyone lived happily ever after until
I,
next season.
I can't. I understand they're talking about wanting to do these like these kind of enclosed serial kind of arcs per season, but I always loved the cliffhanger. I mean, understandably, it's going to take another year, for episodes to come out, but the cliffhanger season finale. There's no like cliffhanger. There's nothing like making me like bite my nails waiting for it to come back.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll get a cliffhanger in season 2.
Okay.
Because first seasons usually don't have a cliffhanger ending. It's usually after the first or second season we start getting those cliffhanger endings where they pick up with the cliffhanger at the beginning of the next season. One thing I really wanted to ask you about this episode, because there was a lively Facebook debate a couple days ago. Well, it'll be a couple weeks ago when this comes out. But now that we've seen the entire Star Trek Discovery, do you think the main plot is about the war? Because I personally don't see the main plot as well. I feel like it was bookended by the war, or the war is an umbrella, but I don't feel like the war was the main topic of the show.
No, but they did try to mention every episode, even that one Latin episode there. That with the communication and sending the signals off, like they tried to make sure they touched on it. It was an undercurrent, but it wasn't like war centered. And even by war centered, I don't mean battles every episode. It doesn't have to be battles every episode, but it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't really like war centered.
Because to me, like looking back, like seeing the entire series, episode 3 to episode 13 is about Lorca getting back to the mirror universe and taking over.
Mhm.
Because everything, even Michael in like one of the mirror episodes says, "Look, I just realized everything you did, picking me, all this stuff was to get him back here for this moment. Like, so everything Lorca did was to get back home and to take over. So when you look at it, when you look at it as a whole thing, it's like there's 2 episodes at the beginning, the war end. There's 2 episodes at the end where they end the war, and then everything in between is about Lorca and his plan.
Well, because they literally weren't even there. They got the plans for the cloak with all the jumps, and they left the war behind when they came to the mirror universe. There literally was no Klingon war.
Exactly.
When they talked about we need to get back because, mention Klingon war, but yeah, there was no Klingon war. As Philip has said, like they're scattered and they're scared and they're fighting for scraps in our universe. The Klingons weren't a threat in the mirror universe where we actually spent a few episodes.
Yeah. It's just interesting that they pitched the season as the Klingon War season, and the Klingon War is such a small part of the series. It's like it's not even the first episode, because the first episode the war hasn't started yet. The second episode the war starts, and then the last 2 episodes they wrap it up, and everything in between alludes to a Klingon War, but doesn't really show anything. So yeah, that's just my thoughts, because I just was like, I don't see this as a Klingon war. I really wish they would have come out and said, Star Trek Discovery takes place during Klingon War, but that's not the focus.
Yeah.
Like if they would have said that, that would have been truthful. It wouldn't have given away too much, and then it would have provided a lot of healthy, fun speculation between fans. Like, oh, what? Because there's a war happening, but what would the focus be if it's not the war? How could it not be the war? You know what I mean? So like it could have provided all this stimulation for interesting conversation, but instead the writers were like, oh, like, well, this season's about the Klingon War, but it wasn't really.
Well, I mean, in terms of like, I mean, even at the end of war, there weren't actually a lot of even like battle scenes. Some ships turned around, Cornwall got PTSD, they bailed. The war didn't involve actually much warring. It was more strategery.
I don't even think there was that much strategery, honestly.
I mean, they tried to come up with an idea at the end, and then they put all the thought into it. They're like, oh, hey, Michael.
And then they changed it at the last second when they found out
Yeah.
genocide was involved.
Oh, I mean, they knew it, and that's the whole thing, when I always want all the details. So when Sarek's like, tells Philippa, like, tell me how does the war end? What happened? And that's like cut, and I'm like, well, tell me. Obviously, she blew up Kronos, and she even says it. She says, because I wondered, she talked about being this rock a few episodes back, but she was the one that did the same thing.
Yeah.
In the mirror universe, it was her that did it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but the thing is if it was her that did it, shouldn't she have already known where the caves and everything were? Or did she make it this blackened rock a different way?
Oh, they probably had a major fleet action against the Klingon home planet in the mirror universe. Well, that's she just knew that this was another way they could do it.
I still love her. It's like, don't get in any trouble, and she's like,
oh yeah, that's one thing we forgot to mention last time. As the very end of the episode, she becomes captain. She gets her freedom and she becomes captain of the Discovery.
My face was like, I literally was like looking at the screen, and then but she didn't try to sell it like right off the bat. She's barking orders, and admittedly, some of the crew had never met Philippa, so they don't really know who she is. Tilly's like, oh, so great to finally meet you, but
which is the best scene in the entire series. I love that scene so much. The comedic timing.
Here too, though.
What were you saying?
I love Tilly's look, and when Giorgio's like, "Oh yeah, I can't stand this hair," and she's like,
"I know,
it's ugly," and then she's like, she tries to do like the hail, and Michael's like, "Yeah, don't do that."
Yeah.
Well, I love it. It's kind of little, not comic-y, but a little Orville-y, where they add in some almost seems like impromptu dialogue. Not everything's like serious. It's like that. Oh no. It's like a mess hall scene, but not in the mess hall.
Well, I mean, they did some great comedic timing with Tilly, because Mary Wiseman, she just has great comedic timing, but it doesn't feel like Orville, because it's not like a dumb joke. She literally didn't know.
No, but it's I like that they've added some not obvious humor, but they've added this
just situational humor, because it's just
happen in real life.
Yeah,
he slips up and says something wrong. I mean, stuff like that happens.
Exactly.
And they didn't, other series didn't quite touch on stuff. The characters weren't as fallible.
Yeah, they're trying to earn the Federation, and they kind of do at the end with we got to stand up for our morals at the last second, once they find out what the real plan is.
We are Starfleet.
And then everyone stands up, even though we don't know who they are.
Yeah, true.
Even Demure, whose eye got messed up because of Michael, she's like, I'm standing up too. I don't have a personality. I'm just here.
I liked her smile. I'm like, I assume it's still con stations, but they haven't quite, in my mind, established, and I'm sure somebody's done it, because not everybody, but there's people who really analyze things like, what are all the different stations,
Yeah.
I'm not even quite sure what everybody's jobs are. What does the augmented human do? What does the random guy in the back do? Like, what are these stations and what are their jobs? And are we ever going to find anything out about these characters? They all got medals.
Yeah, because we saw them on screen, so they got medals. But I don't know. I really hope we get these characters fleshed out. And I know for this first season they're going, hey, look, Michael's the main character. But and they were saying, oh, we don't need the captain to be the main character. But to me, outside of the original series, the captain wasn't really the main character. I mean, sure, the show kind of revolved around the captain, but the shows are always ensemble shows. Mm-hmm. And then there was always like a Riker episode, or a Geordi episode, or a Worf episode. And then like toward the end of Next Gen, they were almost all Worf episodes, where Worf almost became the main character in season 7. In Deep Space Nine, you've got a Quark episode, you've got Bashir episodes, you've got Dax episode, or sometimes they have episodes about random people who come on the station and you barely even see the main cast. So
Data was an android. Geordi had his bodies and stuff, but most of that cast also is human. So exploring humanity, you can only go so far. You have your Vulcans that on some of the series that help explore humanity.
Yeah.
are you gonna explore? You have to pick the alien cast member to explore something.
Yeah, and they didn't do a whole lot with Saru. I mean, they did a little bit, but like he was a lot smaller character than I thought he would end up being. I mean, he became bigger as it went on, I guess. But like at the beginning, he was there a lot. In the middle, we didn't see him a lot, and then at the end, we started seeing him. So it was interesting the way they did that.
I liked his Mossy when they're like, captain on deck, and he's like acting captain.
Acting captain.
But he really wants. I think he really wants it. And the idea that he's good as like a fill-in all the time. And actually, I'm trying to think if it was this episode or the previous episode. They had the augmented human. They had her sitting in the captain's chair, filling in, kind of like a night shift duty thing. So it makes me even wonder more about her because, I mean, it took several episodes of Voyager before they let Harry Kim fill in on the night shift. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess I could zoom in, like try to figure out ranks and looking at their badges and figure out what division they're in.
Yeah, I just hope season 2 becomes more of an ensemble show, more like Next Gen, more like DS9, more like Voyager. Because I know the shows they say they're about the captains, but I felt like they were more about the crew, and each episode was about different characters, where it would have a focus.
Yeah, but then also you only have and they didn't say, as far as I know, how many episodes they're going to try to push out for next season. But with 15 episodes, you don't have time for those filler, exploratory type of episodes where you just have, Deanna and Beverly just stretching in the gym,
Oh, yeah, that's a good scene.
Well, it's a very small gym.
It's very small, but it's
so fit.
The outfits are great, though.
Yeah, with the nutritious burritos. I don't know what happened to those.
Yeah, we didn't see much of the replicators after the first couple episodes.
I mean, they were introducing. I'm not a non-Star Trek person, obviously, but I would love to see a person who has no experience with Star Trek. Oh, some of my coworkers, because her boyfriend likes it. She just started watching Discovery, so I don't know if some of this is like filling in maybe for people who don't have a Star Trek background. And I'd like to see what a non-Star Trek person thinks about, Discovery as a standalone show.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know anyone who's never seen any Star Trek and only seen Discovery, so I don't know anyone like that either. Who's been in a void of Star Trek and only seen Discovery. So it would be interesting. I'd love to talk with someone who that's their only Star Trek experience. I think that would be interesting to find out.
I turned 18. I never saw Star Wars. I saw them when they re-released them at the theater. So there are some people who are like in bubbles.
Sure, no, but I'm just saying I don't know anybody, so I don't know who to ask. What were your favorite moments of this episode? Will you take my hand?
Oh, Nelly! Obviously, the scene with Giorgio and Tilly. Love that.
That was my favorite scene. Yes.
I liked when Michael was trying to call her out on the bridge. Like, oh wait, hey, where'd you live?
But I just don't know what her end game was there. It didn't.
I think she wasn't trying to like call her out. I think she was trying to say like, hey, rope it back in here. You're supposed to be playing somebody,
Well, the way their conversation went, it seemed like she's like, don't try to question my thought. I think she was trying to make her look weak to the rest of the crew, not being able to answer basic questions and try to like throw her identity. But what would that accomplish?
It was just a fun banter because you see like the other. I like literally wrote my notes just the smirks, like Detmer just like smiling, and then they zoomed in on that, like everybody's kind of confused and some people know what's going on, some people find it amusing, and
yeah,
they're kind of adding some humanity to these characters that we know nothing about. The hallway scene, like we're going to address as lowlifes. I'm like, you were the hottest lowlifes I've ever seen. I don't even know what Tyler's wearing because I was like, Giorgio's got the cape, she's good. Tilly's got her little like low cut, her little jacket here. Michael kind of had a hark back with the like neck scarf or whatever. The Orion scene, love the Orion scene.
I love the Orions too. They were a little light skinned for me. They look because in the preview they looked almost white with that light on them.
Well, it might have been kind of a don't want to, show your whole hand here.
Yeah.
Kind of like the back alley market, the Klingon peeing. That kind of, I understand they have duplicated organs, but.
I wonder if Worf had a really extreme circumcision on one of them.
Well, he was raised by humans.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? He's deformed. Let's fix that. Snip.
Like is this why Deanna couldn't stay with him and he wound up with like Jadzia later? Like
the thing is, if Worf still has two, I can see Deanna getting like weirded out
or something,
But I can also see Jadzia being totally for like the multiple dicks. Jadzia just seems kinky like that.
Before Tilly even said to Michael in the scene outside, like, I got your back, she already, when like Tyler's walking down the hall, like kind of too close to Michael, she like, boom, like she like got in between them. I like
Yeah.
loved it. And the Gormagander, they harken back to the Gormagander. They
That was a fun call out.
in that Harry Mudd episode that kind of just got tucked into the middle of the season. And the whole Orion Club scene. I love that there was like Orion slave dudes. I loved Clint Howard. I love that he had his like orange punch in front of him. And the fact that, she, did I get enough? And then
Passed out.
and he's like, he's not cutting open the box, he's cutting open the cuff. She's like it makes me think of like the Oscars or something. She's
Or
got
like
the brief.
the secret agent briefcase thing where
Yeah.
it's
And
yeah.
he's like, how can you blame me? I'm an Orion. And it's kind of like, okay, you're kind of rapey and creepy, but it's okay because you're an Orion. And then she opens, she's like, holy shnikes, this isn't what I thought it was. I mean, he couldn't cut that thing off, but she really quickly, popped open that briefcase.
Well, she's
But
got Starfleet
before-
training.
Before that, when Michael's like, I'll have one of you, or not Michael, Philip was like, I'll have one of you, and I'll have one of you. And yeah, we're not inviting you, and we'll see you later. And she did something so great that they almost didn't charge her, which I'm sure they didn't charge her when she put a gun to their heads.
Sure, yeah, but they almost didn't want to charge her anyway. I feel like that's like a weird shout out to like Game of Thrones and or they want to charge her. It's kind of like a weird shout out to Podrick from Game of Thrones because like Tyrion was like, "What's going on? How come they didn't charge you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I guess I was just that good, but I don't know what I did."
Oh, I love
a weird Game of Thrones shout out.
JoJo's outfit. Like, did they lend her something? Is that just what she wears underneath her low life clothes? Was that her plan all along? And the idea that they're trying so hard to find somebody who knows where this shrine of Malor is, but the Orion slaves know where it is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And nobody's in a hurry
they
to
live
find.
there.
Nobody's in a hurry. Like when she wakes up and when Tilly wakes up and she figures out it's a bomb, she calls everybody and they all just like hang around the table like, what are we gonna do? Well, let's go up to the ship and think about it. And you're like, seriously, I'm pretty sure she figured out where the caves are. She's, punched her in the face. She's got the bomb. Like, can we kind of speed this up here?
Yeah, and that's the thing for me with this episode. It just felt, it was a good fun episode. It was a fun episode of Star Trek. I just don't buy it as a season finale. It just doesn't make any sense as a season finale because at the beginning of the episode we saw the Klingon fleet like pulling up around Jupiter, closing in on Earth.
Oh,
and
I was counting the planets. I was like, I love this. I'm like counting the planets, and I see the space station like being built.
Oh yeah, it was great seeing the Earth space dock being built. There's so many great little things in this episode, but then the story beats just kind of don't make sense because like it's supposed to be this high stakes, tense situation, and everyone's just kind of like taking their time doing everything. Vok goes and plays a game and then wins some money that I guess he bribes the two Klingons for information later. I don't know why he needs more money. They just sold a bunch of illegal guns.
He's got less body parts now, but I guess he's still a tough guy, and he's like, kind of like whole Sarek said, you fire first. Like they respond to a strong person. Like gotta go up and like let's play, let's fight. Like, and I think he enjoyed kind of hanging out with his
people.
Yeah, really. And then Michael's like, and laughter, I'm out. I'm like, laughter, you're out. Okay, I get it. She explained it later on, but
I feel like if this would have come up sooner, like if this would have come up episode 3 or 4, this could have made Michael a lot more three-dimensional of a person. But the fact that they just dropped this tidbit at the very last episode, it doesn't, the resonance just doesn't hit as well. You know what I mean? Because it's...
I heard her parents were killed by Klingons, but it's like, she's been dealing with Klingons since the beginning, the whole Ship of the Dead, and like, God, that's so far back, I barely remember anything about it, but that was that gave depth to the character, like, if you would know that this was part of her history.
It did, knowing the details of it, but learning the details at the very end almost made it not matter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they would have made it happen sooner, we could have understood her more and understood her decisions and actions more. But the fact that we just get at the very end, I feel like it lacks the punch.
It's this wrapping it up, this let's tie our bows here.
It's like a Scooby-Doo episode where everything just falls into place just perfectly, and it's like, oh, well, everything's perfectly racked up. And some people say I'm down on the show, and like, sure. I mean, I am a little bit down on it. It's the first season of Star Trek, so A, it's got that against it. So B, they lost Brian Fuller at the very beginning of the show. So I mean, sure, I'm hard on it, but I mean, it's not the. I can't blame it all on the writers and stuff, because they had to scramble and put everything together based on a loose framework that Brian Fuller put together.
Did they get the Okudas on board for this? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, they could be, but I'm not aware of.
Didn't they like write some of the Bibles, like compendiums? Yeah, like you have a canon question, like this is who you find.
Exactly, or Larry Nemeczek. There's lots of great people who are big in the Star Trek community that have written stuff and putting things together and have Star Trek's a huge part of their lives. It would have been great to have that. So I mean, yeah, I am a little bit hard on the first season. It's a first season, and I feel like there's some questionable things, but I genuinely did enjoy Discovery. Like, even I didn't like how Lorca was the Mirror Lorca, it was still a fun as hell episode to watch. Well, like, seeing Jason Isaacs just revel in being a bad guy it's so much fun. So I mean, it's the writing that has weakened points is forgivable at points because it's just so much fun to watch. And this show was a lot of fun.
But I mean, you guys are not the only group. I watch other Star Trek podcasts kind of referenced by you guys. You guys have helped me kind of see that there's other groups out there, and they all kind of have this some of the same critiques and the ideas. It's because of the passion. You love the show so much, you want it to be great, and you notice things, and things are going to kind of irk you. Somebody who may not be an expert at Trek may not notice these things. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you're hating on it, it's that it's your love of the show and wanting everything to be perfect.
Absolutely, that's what it is. So yeah,
I love your guys' prediction episodes. Like, you guys, what will we see? And you get yourself psyched up and you think of all these great things, and like, you guys should write some fan fiction. Like, seriously, like you guys, your fan theories are well thought out. And then it's like, sometimes
when it doesn't even come close to panning out.
Oh, I know. I loved it. Everybody had this theory about like going back in time, kind of resetting the timeline.
Yeah, we did. Trek Yards did. Other people made those theories too.
But not throwing away, not like a Dallas episode where you just wake up and the whole last season was a dream, but where that crew retains those memories. They've been developed as characters. They know these things. They're bringing stuff with them going forward again in a timeline. I thought it was great. Let's, because we figured out the spore drive can time travel.
Yeah. Let's use it.
Yeah, let's stop the Klingon War before it happens. Or, I mean, the problem is, and it's true that Cornwell said it. She says, "What if?" And I mean, I don't know if she was kind of like looking at Michael for this because Michael lost her parents, but like with the war, the whole Klingon War, like if people found out you could jump to places, you can go back in time, you could save your loved ones, like this is some dangerous technology.
Yeah, but so the casualties of war are insane, and that's one of the things that irks me a little bit with the canon of the show is that they lost 20-something% of their territory, and they lost 1/3 of the fleet, and they've lost so many lives. And I feel like this never being referenced 10 years later just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because this is a big deal, losing that many people, losing so many ships.
What referenced something like this very well was that whole Wolf 359. Like, that was a big, I mean, Picard, it happened to him, but that was a big driver for Sisko. Like, and that stayed with him for a long time. And I mean, these people, we ended the war. There's some people out there with some grudges, or some people out there with some issues. You don't just forget that your loved ones died.
Yeah. But speaking of like how the show wraps up just so nicely, so they give L'Rell the bomb. They talk Giorgio out of it. They give her an iPad with a biometric for their thumb. I don't know. Do claws have like rings for them to tell who's who, like a thumbprint does?
Fingertips. So I assume he must.
Well, L'Rell's got regular.
No, but I'm saying Tyler, like they must have some type of like maybe fingerprints or something.
Yeah. So she gets an iPad and she goes to the council, or she goes somewhere. And she's like, "Make me leader," and they all laugh at her. She's like, "I have an iPad," and like, "Oh my god, she has an iPad!" And she's like, "If I press this button, I'll blow up the planet." personally, I don't buy that she would even press the button ever. I mean, sure, it's a show of force, but I feel like it's an empty one because she got so excited when she saw the hologram of Kronos when she was in the prison cell. So it's my home. Like she got such a lady boner for her planet. So I just don't.
She never believes anybody died. She's like, wait a minute, you're dead. Wait a minute, you're dead. I can't count how many times she'd see somebody walk into the cell. Like, wait a minute, you're dead. just give up. Everybody's alive.
Yeah, so I just don't buy all 24 Klingon houses just turning tail. Just oh look, here's your starbase back, here's your planets back, because this lady's got an iPad. And she says it's a bomb.
By the time next gen came, hundreds of years have passed here. Whatever. I mean, does the bomb degrade? This is just a plot point that just got kind of left. What point? Say the shield around the bomb wears down and boom, there goes the planet out of the blue. People forget, did they just forget this iPad existed?
I guess. Because Gowron should have been like, oh look, here's this iPad the bomb that you put in. It'd be interesting to see what if it comes up again, at least in Discovery, or maybe the bomb's done. But what I was really hoping to see was that they would use the bomb and destroy Kronos, and then Michael would be like, oh my god, we've crossed the line. Stamets, time travel us back. 9 months, or travel us back to the Battle of Binary Stars. Let me stop myself from making a bad decision.
He did admit, though, he made an error. He's like, I got lost. Do you think he has the ability to target time now, though?
Or they could just, find the nearest star and fly around it and go back in time. I mean, it's not unheard of. And if
Superman flying backwards, trying to reset time here.
Well, it's what they did in Star Trek 4, and it's also what they did in this TOS episode with Gary 7, where they just randomly went back in time to check on the 60s for whatever reason.
Where's Voyager's temporal police? They never mentioned temporal police up until Voyager comes around, but shouldn't they be hey, let's fix your timeline or something?
You'd think, but that's what I'm hoping we'll get with season 2. Maybe we'll get some temporal stuff, because Discovery did mess things up by being coming back 9 months in the future.
Somebody had a baby.
Yeah.
9 months. Oh, I don't know. But everybody looks really good because they didn't age either.
Yeah, that whole 9 months doesn't even show.
But the thing is, I love fan theories, but then it gets my expectations up. And admittedly, I think all you guys are amazing writers, and then it doesn't, their writers don't live up to it. And I'm like, oh, but everybody has such good ideas.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to theorize. It's fun to speculate.
I was never a fan fiction fan until listening to you guys talking. Now I'm like, maybe I need to start looking at, other shows I like and look at those websites where people write, fan stories.
Yeah, I'm not huge on fan fiction, but I love fan theories. I love people picking out things and trying to figure out where things are going to go for the future.
Tyler's still hanging out. Laurel watched him kiss Michael, even though she was like, I totally like you now. We're good. Let's be together. And he's like, actually... I've been wanting you for a while. I've been trying to talk you into liking me, but actually I'm going to go ahead and go with her. He still exists. He still has the knowledge of Tyler. He still has the knowledge of Vogue. Would he be a double agent? I mean, what's going on with him? Or is his character just going to vanish?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out if Shazad Latif is still a part of season 2.
I mean, it's anybody can be a red shirt. Nowadays, when they make series, they don't seem to have issues in killing off big characters. Aside from Tasha Yar.
Yeah.
And then they have this new Dr. Pollard, and I'm like, is Dr. Pollard the Dr. Pulaski of Discovery since Culber's gone?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get maybe she'll be the new Doctor, or maybe we'll get a new Doctor next season. Who knows? It'll be interesting to find out. But season 2 starts filming in April, so hopefully we'll start getting casting news soon. If there's any new major cast members showing up.
I know I kind of sneak onto IMDb and see what's been updated.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
The whole post-production, I mean, you gotta swap off. Do you want the awesome special effects, or do you want episodes to come out faster? I mean, because they're talking like a year, and you're hoping people are going to hang around and still be interested in a year.
Well, I mean, Game of Thrones has had like is going to have a year and a half like turnaround by the time it finally comes back. Or oh no, it'll be almost 2 years by the time it comes back.
Well, there's Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. I think AMC noticed there's that lag in between seasons, so they had a filler. People either A, drop their CBS All Access, or B, get their free week, binge the whole season and get rid of it. They might notice that maybe they need. I don't know if they're going to try to spread themselves too thin, but maybe need 2 alternating Star Trek series to kind of fill in the gap.
I honestly hope they do. I really hope they do, so they can fill in that gap and keep people. Because I mean, that's the idea, and I think they might have to rethink that if they see a massive exodus now that Star Trek Discovery is over.
Oh, I loved when there were those overlaps when TNG and DS9 were running together, and I would just sit there and watch BBC and watch the repeats and stuff. That's probably why I have such a better memory of the older episodes than of these, because I haven't watched them I have watched most of these like 3-4 times already.
Yeah.
But all we have left is podcasts. So hopefully people keep on putting out, because we're going to have to find something to talk about for the next year.
Oh, there's so many old Star Trek episodes to talk about, so there's lots to podcast on.
I love you guys that when you guys pick a topic like a Prime Directive or something, or pick a specific episode of one of the series and go into it, because True Q, I mean, I love the episode, and I liked going deeper into it. That's just stuff I've always thought about. But I mean, I need something. I need action figures. They are putting books out. I'm very interested in reading the books. I don't know. I mean, are the books going to be considered canon?
Usually no, but I think they are trying to write them to adhere to canon.
It's a way to put out some material, and you don't have to pay for any of the production costs.
I don't know if they're going to be officially canon, but I think they're going to try to adhere to Discovery canon, and they're trying to bridge canon with some of the books as well between TOS and it. So they're sort of canon, but maybe not 100%.
Well, I think the comics aren't going to be, but I'm excited about the Discovery comic.
Yeah, I've read the first, like the Takuvma one. It was okay. We did see some Klingons with hair and facial hair in that comics. That was kind of nice to see.
Yeah, that's my issue with the Klingons. Like, I understand like evolution. Like, seeing a Klingon like this, they need to stop going in the past, go in the future, because you can't introduce a lot of new races and stuff that you're never going to see again in other like later series.
Oh, they always do. They got the Kelpian in this. They got the whatever Dr. Phlox was. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now.
But it's just so hard. It creates those issues where people are like, wait a minute, why haven't I seen these anymore? I feel like they went back for Enterprise. They went back for Discovery. Like, let's go in the future. I love that other series kind of maybe brought some ideas for some new technology. I need some new technology. I want to see what, another 100 years is going to look like.
Yeah, me too. I mean, maybe we will finally move forward if the show's successful enough and we get some more shows. Maybe we'll get some more Star Trek that'll show up in the future. But
it'll be weird. I don't think they can have a past and a future one running simultaneously.
Well, it'll be a while before we get a future one probably. But hopefully we'll get one eventually. Mm-hmm. So do you have any closing thoughts on Will You Take My Hand? The Enterprise.
Oh my God. Like, again, I'm like I'm in the living room watching my husband who doesn't watch Star Trek. And I'm like, oh my God, it says NCC1. I still don't know the numbers for Discovery, but like, I'm like, I know
Discovery's 1031.
Well,
it's Halloween.
Pike, I watched it on VHS as one of the first episodes I saw. And it was a nice update to the original ship without making it not look too different.
Yeah, I love the update personally. I think it's perfect, right where it needs to be. Because I never bought that the Enterprise that we saw in TOS had a couple parts change and it became the one in the motion picture. I never bought it. I just couldn't because there's too many different pieces. But this one is like a perfect in between where they can keep some of the pieces and change up the pieces.
It's the texture, but I know if they decide to do anything on the ship, people are going to be particular about the sets.
Oh, the sets are going to be different. I think they're going to try to keep like the feel, but it'll look completely different. It's got to.
Is Spock going to be on there?
I hope so. I really hope we see Spock because there's such a great potential for storytelling between Spock, Sarek, and Michael, and between Spock and Pike. There's so much potential for storytelling that if they just show the Enterprise and then we don't see it again, I'll be super disappointed. Just like the Tribble. Like the Tribble should have been a smoking gun for Vok Tyler, and they were never in the same room at the same time. So
But if you feel, don't they go kind of dormant?
triples?
Was it alive? Was it even an alive Tribble?
Yeah, it purred.
Oh. But then the idea is recasting all these characters. You know, Zachary Quinto. Are you going to find another Spock? You know, they had all this bad blood between Sarek and Spock. How are you going to kind of resolve that?
Well, they're not gonna. We're gonna see the bad blood because they have bad blood in TOS. So it'll be fun to see. I really hope that they cast these people. I hope they get Zachary Quinto back because he's the most qualified to play Spock since Leonard Nimoy himself coached him on how to play Spock for the first 2 Star Trek reboot movies before he passed. So
I guess I do take it back then. They did wrap everything up in a bow, but they did kind of leave that cliffhanger because there's all those questions about what was the distress signal? What are we going to do with the original Enterprise now that they're like together? What's going to happen?
I really hope we get like at least like 4 episodes where the Enterprise and Discovery have to figure out some kind of problem, and then they go on to Vulcan to get the new captain. That would be fun to see. But if it's just like, oh look, here's the Enterprise, and then they go 6 months later and then we don't see it, I'll be really disappointed because it's just there's so much potential for interesting storytelling right there.
I do wonder, like, there's the show After Trek. So, you know, they have the fans, they have the actors they interview. Do the show writers, do they pay attention to these podcasts, these internet chats, and do they look and see what the fans want and put into consideration?
I know they listen to some podcasts because these guys I know, Trek Geeks, I know the writers listen to them because the guys at Trek Geeks have told me that they do, but I don't know what else they listen to. They're the only podcast that I know they've heard.
You have to have original ideas, but you also, you know, you got to give the fans a little bit of what they want. I love most of the Orion scenes. Overall, the episode kind of fell flat with me in terms of how they wrapped it up. You know, I've seen
Same here.
I've seen enough speeches at Starfleet headquarters or at the Academy or the fact that they went to Paris this time instead of San Francisco kind of irked me.
I didn't mind the scenery change. I thought it was cool to see France. I was like, where are they? They used to have the Eiffel Tower. I was like, oh, that's cool. And the whole cityscape looked different. I really enjoyed the way France looked. So it was kind of fun to see updated France.
I'm just kind of confused because Sarek was on the ship previous episode. He's like, I gotta go, just kind of skipped out of nowhere, and then like he's back again, and you know, it's like these convenient entrances and exits, and he's quite a big character in this series. You know, he made a little bit in TOS, and you know, he showed up in Next Gen.
Yep.
But you know, he's a not like a prime TOS character, but it's nice that they brought something from the original series to try to tie this Discovery, you know, with all the other series.
Yeah, they did, and it was fun. Like Sarek is a little emotional for me, but maybe we'll see. It's just for Michael, so he can kind of like be on her level, and then and then Spock, he just turns it all off.
I'm still saying
pure spite.
I think he lives vicariously through his wife's feels. You know, he can't be overly emotional, but he has this wife who's like motherly and loving, and you know, he may not show it outwardly, but you know, I think he likes being close to somebody who has these emotions.
I can see that, maybe. Thank you so much for joining me for this talk about Star Trek Discovery, the final episode. I mean, we talked about pretty much everything about the season, but it's just a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me, Anjelle.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And where can we find you on social media if people want to find you?
I have a cosplay Facebook page. It's just Anjelle Jeanne Cosplay, ANJELLE JEANNE.
Awesome. And for the show, you're already here on our YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, please do. And please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. And if you got any feedback, we'd love to see that as well. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Synthaholic Duo. And join the Facebook conversation, facebook.com/groups/Synthaholics. We have a lot of fun chatting there about Star Trek Discovery and sometimes some actual real science if there's something interesting has happened. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you again, Anjelle, for joining me. Live long and prosper, guys.